sky is gone, I'm still here, bedridden now. When the ride has stopped, it's hard saying goodbye, especially when the connection was as deep as a breath after a dive into the deep end of a relationship. What relationship? A date? Hardly just the opening of a window into my mind. A compelling and satisfying morning ritual any nurse can perform, but which this particular nurse did so well. But they come and they go. This is typical. They need to go always, like they find out about toilets some vast distance away, like they're poor Indians leaving India to come to Australia. Not that they ever get to. That's for the middle class only. Call this some expansion of literary proportions of populations. It's been a day since the date. Time's expanding without even taking a proper breath. We'll call it a date, dear reader. It means as much to me. I have a little time to think now, seeing an Indian. Then Chinese nurse passed by the bed several meters from mine. The politicians in charge must think that we haven't got enough land here in Australia for nurses to live on, even if they're tying the knot to make their way in life. Make an area of land from thin air that still costs over $7 grand. The politicians think of their own country as a typical Chinese nursing home. There's no room to spare for young, aspirational and inspirational helpers. It's a shame they don't care about elderly people. Stop making it so expensive for international helpers to come to my side, because I wanna hear who's on their side along with them. If you can't look after the elderly people yourself, public leader, then at least find me geriatricians for the sake of my fertility. No wait, this isn't about me, it's about Indians. Forget fertility. Forgive me please for being a child, angry and abusive in my head like some sons of old Indians. Shame on me for being so impatient. Nurses will be by my side soon, not the loud and aggravating nature, not nurture what no one could touch. Fundamental flaws, flowers taking its course of immature disturbances, like poor kids who need diapers and equipment like their poor grandparents who do too. But there's no insurance against deteriorating health here. That's more important than nature. If nature's just grass growing before my weary eyes, as dull as blades against my skin, refeelings. Land is overvalued even for stones, excluding wetlands, which need to get wet for humans. And compassion and time and relations and passion are undervalued. The nature of nurture should be highlighted. These glass windows before me, through which I see roses I don't get to smell, are more like glass ceilings. or training to become a nurse, is when all I long for is companionship. The marathon would suffice. No, dear reader, a kid's simple nurture would suffice. I don't have kids, but if I did, it's compassion that would ensure they're fit enough to care for elders when older. But if homes are so broken, both nursing and figure artively, then it's hard to find land for common ground in the coffers of an apparently popular government. Care given to too many of the elderly is temporary in China, and here and now I feel Chinese. There should be no grounds for cronyism. On second thoughts, that makes me a bit of a hypocrite, given my previous comments about nurture trumping skill sets. Maybe some cronyism here is due now, and do carry connections, but so far I'm making no friends in the long run. I'm bedridden, so I can't even run from Sydney to Bondi. In some places in China there are beds everywhere, like people collapsing everywhere after a run, but they're vacant like the people stayed home. Here I'm surrounded by vacant beds now, but nurses still can't find me. They only make the beds running this way and that. I wanna hold up a line that to me is a finishing line for them, but they'll probably just think I'm pushing clothes for cleaning, giving them orders, but I want orders from them. Orders yawned into my face. I would prefer to be at home here, that must be emphasized. And if bored and yawning, dear nurse, run more, even at work more. Both clients and nurses of the nurses, for better homes in the long run. Take over existing establishments, that's better land acquisition. Gym equipment here should trump empty space. Still, I guess weights are already falling from the sky down under, given the nurses' workloads here in Australia. Not to mention stress, dangers, and resignations, but they're dealing with young people, not me. Oh my dear reader, a Chinese and Indian nurse are approaching the finish line on side at the same time. They've been talking to one another this whole time. I have no issue with them talking on the job. The two women obviously close colleagues. No orders, just chatter, laughter, agreeable eye contact. Oh, he's the only client, but we both need a job, the Chinese nurse says, looking at the Indian one. The Indian nurse chuckles, then touches her lips with her fingers, bobbling her head. Now the bobble may be Indian, but the fingers to the lips is an international sign for building a wall around the mouth to stop bad breath escaping. I'm sure some of the refugees made it to the nose of the Chinese nurse, and I smile. This is so unbelievably beautiful, this fine interracial interaction. The fingers of the Chinese woman find her own lips, but only hang on loosely. Winds about the cliff, I'm sure, but even Bruce Lee couldn't have enclosed this breath with the body everlasting. Even on a moving one, sweating it out is sublime. He'll need to pick one of us. She turns to face me. Hi Mark, I'm Melanie, and my friend is Isha.